Squid Game has finally wrapped up the story of Seong Gi-hun, and through his intense journey, we've witnessed hundreds of deaths, some tragic, some hilarious, and others just straight dumb. We're about to go through every single death to take place in the show, all the way from the first victim of Season 1 to Gi-hun himself at the end of Season 3. So be sure to subscribe, and let's get into it. It all started with the naive players entering the arena for red light, green light, entirely unaware of the stakes of the games they had signed up for. It started with one player's death, then another, and then dozens, leading to a huge stampede of players slowly being eliminated one by one as they tried and failed to escape the arena. We see 92 die before our eyes, but after the game, it's revealed that the total number of players who were eliminated was a staggering 255. This is not only the first death game we witnessed, but also the most lethal throughout the entire series. After the vote to leave the games, the players are reminded of the miserable futility of their existences in a society where money rules all. One example is Deok-soo being jumped by a group of gangsters tipped off by his own gang member, who all prepare to savagely beat him to death for the debts he owes. It's here that Deok-soo brutally stabs the rat to death before narrowly escaping and decides to join the games, along with Gi-hun and many other major players. Jun-ho, the detective brother of the frontman, kills a guard and takes his identity to sneak into the Squid Game compound. A small group of players chose not to return to the games, meaning that a total of 257 players were eliminated by the time the second game began. The Tasty Sugar Honeycomb game is more of a slow trickle of deaths compared to the first match's bloodbath. Contestants must carefully carve out a pre-selected shape from a thin, brittle sheet of honeycomb candy known as dalgona, using only a needle. If the shape cracks or is not cut out within the time limit, the player is eliminated. A gradual snapping sound of candy is followed by a loud, echoing gunshot as one player after another fails the game. Thanks to Gi-hun's accidental sweat discovery, a fair few do make it, but not before we lose another gang of players. Then we add the guard who is eliminated by the front daddy for removing his mask, meaning that by the end of the Dalgona game, a total of 317 kills had already taken place. We then witness the intense bloodbath during Lights Out thanks to Deok-soo's accidental discovery that killing people adds more money to the prize pool. By the end of the whole night of violence, 378 players were dead in total. Next up is the tug-of-war match, something which has a clean 50% cutoff rate. So the total after many fell to their violent and horrific deaths was 418 kills. Following this is the chaotic outburst by the player who used his skills as a doctor to assist pink guards with an illicit organ harvesting ring, in exchange for them leaking him information from the games. After the whole debacle caught the attention of the frontman, everybody involved was killed, leading us to a total of 425 kills. Marbles broke our hearts, pitting beloved characters against one another and making it impossible for any kind of happy ending to prevail. Players are instructed to pair up and are each given a set of 10 marbles. They must win all of their partner's marbles in a game of their own choosing, whether mental, physical, or otherwise, with the loser of each pair being eliminated. From Sang-woo betraying Ali, Gi-hun heartbreakingly causing the death of his Ganbu, all the way to player 240 to save Se-byuk's life, this game was full of insanely difficult decisions and saddening moments. This brings our total to 442 kills, excluding Mr. Poopy Pants since he didn't actually die in marbles. After the married player self-eliminated after killing his wife, the glass stepping stones game began. To cross this high-altitude bridge, players must choose between two glass panels at each step, one made of tempered glass that can support their weight, and the other of regular glass that will shatter upon impact. A wrong choice sends the player plummeting to their death, and this is something our group got very unlucky with. Users online calculated that, on average, only a few players would usually die in this game. But in our case, only 3 managed to survive, bringing our total kill count so far to 455. This takes us to the final game, before which Se-byuk was cruelly murdered by Sang-woo, who at this point had lost his pure humanity in favor of corruption and greed. His deathmatch against Gi-hun ends in the latter winning the games, but the deaths don't end there. Gi-hun returns with his prize to find his mother has succumbed to her illness and is then invited to see Oh Il-nam, player 001, who had faked his death earlier. After the old man dies, the credits soon roll, giving us a total kill count of 459 kills in Season 1. Season 2 kicks off with the recruiter claiming first blood, executing Mr. Kim in the messed up game of rock, paper, scissors, before ending his own existence after losing his game against Gi-hun. Once the 2024 Squid Game officially begins, it's nothing like the 2020 event, because it all starts with a bee. Yes, a bee causes one player to move, causing her death, and leading to a huge mass freakout ending in dozens of deaths. The second version of Red Light, Green Light ends with 93 kills. The second game then begins, the six-legged pentathlon. Teams of 5 tied together complete 5 minigames, Dokji, Flying Stone, Gongi, Spinning Top, Jigechagi, within 5 minutes to survive, with failure leading to death. One person messing up can lead to everybody's failure, and this happens more than a few times, leading to 110 players being gunned down in cold blood, bringing our total to 203 kills. This leads right into the third game, Mingle. Players form groups matching a called-out number on a spinning carousel and enter a room within 30 seconds, with incorrect group sizes or unpaired players eliminated. This is one of the most chilling and panic-inducing games, with multiple players being separated from their friends and families multiple times. This game saw an insane 155 kills, one of which was from the disguised frontman, who murdered an innocent player to keep Gi-hun's best friend, Jung-bae, alive, to torture Gi-hun through his death later. So cold-hearted, but badass. This game brings our total kill count to 358. Following this, we had the intense bathroom brawl, sparked by players trying to intimidate others to change their votes, ensuring that the game would continue, with them all being desperate to escape their debts. After that, we saw the huge lights out event, where those who wanted to stay in the games brutally murdered many of those who wanted to leave, tilting the votes in their favor. By the end of these two fights, 31 had been killed, as well as one of Junho's team on the boat, and another one of his guys being blown up on an island. That pulls up our kill count to 391. Seeing all the chaos and violence erupt around him, Gi-hun is sick and tired of people's humanity being eroded by the games. Taking matters into his own hands, he launches a revolt by stealing some guns from the Pink Guards and rallying a small group to help him attempt to forcibly end the games by taking down the frontman, not knowing that he was disguised within his group. After a super deadly battle that resulted in betrayals, tragedy, and the heartbreaking execution of Jung-bae, sending Gi-hun into a mental breakdown, our final kill count for Season 2 is an insane 400 kills. That means that, combining it with Season 1's number, we have 859 kills in the show so far. And we're only just getting started, because Season 3's up next. This season held nothing back. Betrayals, sacrifices, hallucinations, and a body count that makes the previous seasons look tame. Episode 1. The first episode of the seasons opens with a bit of a throwback. We see the rebellion put to an end, but this time with a twist. Player 145 gets gunned down, and that's the first official death in the season. Even more shocking is when player 246 is officially confirmed dead by a scan, except he's actually alive, saved by no EUL. It's not a real death, but in the system it is, which makes it an honorable mention. The true scale of the previous episode's rebellion becomes clear when the officer confirms a staggering 27 soldiers and 8 managers died during the organization's defense. That's 35 lives lost just trying to maintain this twisted system. Back on the boat with our boy Junho, Captain Park gets confronted with what happened last night during the storm. He had of course killed the drone operator, but knows nothing and blames the man himself that he was drunk and probably fell over. Then we see his dead body on shore. Technically, he didn't die this season, but still, I don't want anyone coming at me. The real brutality happens in the shadows. No-EUL executes 4 guards in the workroom, eliminating the organ harvesting staff to protect player 246. These aren't random kills. They're calculated moves that show how far she'll go to save someone she cares about. And just like that, Episode 1 is already over. Episode 2. Episode 2 opens with more underground violence as we return to No-EUL, who forced the doctor to save player 246. She didn't say anything about keeping him alive though, so No-EUL shoots the doctor, adding another body to her growing count. But the real carnage begins when the deadly hide-and-seek game starts. The first official game elimination comes when we hear the announcement. Player 310 eliminated, player 260 pass. Player 007 walks stressed through the maze as screams echo around him. A perfect setup for the bloodbath that follows. The deadly partnership of Myung-gi, player 333, and Nam-gyu, player 124, proves lethal immediately. They hunt down player 235 in a terrifying chase through the maze. After cornering him, they engage in a twisted standoff that ends with both stabbing him simultaneously. They literally coordinate the killing blow so both can pass. As they leave, Minsu cowers nearby and we hear player 105 eliminated. Player 096 passed in the background. The announcements become a constant soundtrack of death. Player 226 targets the pregnant player 222, but player 120 steps in to defend her. After an intense duel, player 120 uses a judo throw and player 226's own knife to kill him, showing that even the skilled fighters aren't safe. One of the most cowardly deaths comes when player 100 throws player 232 toward a red-vested killer and locks the door behind them. Player 232 gets stabbed as player 100 blocks the door, too scared to help his supposed friend. The deadly duo strikes again, cornering player 4111 and stabbing him together. Nam-gyu becomes fascinated by watching the life leave the body, a disturbing detail that shows how the games are breaking people psychologically. Player 400, a young woman, gets found stabbed to death, though her killer is never identified. Meanwhile, Gi-hun discovers player 197 dead and bloodied on the ground, another death that's never officially announced, adding mystery to the carnage. Player 394 has a brief, terrifying encounter with Gi-hun, then immediately gets stabbed by player 336 the moment she walks away. Death comes from every direction in this nightmare maze. Daeho fights for his life when player 359 chases him up a staircase. After getting his legs slashed, Daeho throws his attacker down the stairs. Whether player 359 died from the fall or not doesn't matter. Losing his knife seals his fate. In a kid's room, player 007 finds a bloodied player hiding behind the door, someone from the Mingle game. Player 172 begs for his life but then attacks, and they fight desperately for control of the knife. Just as player 172 is about to kill player 007, player 203 stabs player 172 in the neck, saving him. The shaman's betrayal leads to more deaths when she guides her followers into a trap. Players 006 and 447 get cut down by Myung-gi and Nam-gyu as the shaman runs away, abandoning the people who trusted her. We see player 440 eliminated by player 192, while player 009 is found dead, with her killer remaining a mystery, adding to the sense that death lurks everywhere in this maze. One of the most heartbreaking deaths comes when player 120, after killing player 202 in a knife fight to protect player 222 and her newborn baby, gets stabbed in the back by player 333, Myung-gi. He immediately realizes his mistake. She was protecting his own child. Another death occurs off-screen as we hear player 350 eliminated, player 353 pass during the chaos. Drug-addled Minsu's complete mental break leads to a shocking moment when he hallucinates that player 44, the shaman, is Simi. In his delusion, he stabs and kills her, believing he's protecting Seimi from Nam-gyu. The shaman put this upon herself as she was very mean to Minsu. The episode's climax delivers the most anticipated death. The long hunt between Gi-hun and Dae-ho finally ends when Gi-hun finds him at a dead end. After a brutal fight, Gi-hun strangles player 388, Dae-ho, to death, finally getting his revenge as the front man watches, Gi-hun slowly giving in to his demons. But the most heartbreaking moment comes in the final seconds. Player 007, Mousait, faces an impossible choice: kill someone to survive or die himself. He wants to kill player 222, but his mother offers up herself as she is old, and that baby needs protection. After emotional moments, 007 goes in for the kill, but the it happens. His mother, player 149, makes the ultimate sacrifice, stabbing him with her hairpin to save his soul from becoming a killer. The guards then shoot him, officially ending his game. At this point, I am actually traumatized and need a break. So luckily, episode 3 is a little bit calmer. Episode 3. The cleanup after the massacre brings more death when a red-vested player attacks a guard and gets killed for his rebellion. The bodies of player 007, Dae-ho, and player 44 get removed as American VIP fake guards clean the arena. The most devastating death comes from pure despair. Player 149, the mother who killed her own son to save him from becoming a murderer, cannot bear the weight of her actions. She hangs herself in the dormitory. Her body gets collected in the main hall with a coffin. And here I was thinking this episode would be calmer. Even outside the games, violence continues when Mr. Choi does a break-in at Captain Park's crib. He wasn't alone though and ends up having to shoot a guard dog that attacks him during his investigation. R.I.P. Doggo. And even worse is that they couldn't even wait one episode, as at the end of the third episode, Game 4 is already in full throttle. The deadly jump rope game on the bridge becomes a bloodbath. Player 124, Nam-gyu, becomes the first victim when Minsu manipulates him by throwing his drug cross onto the track. When Nam-gyu realizes it's empty, he freezes and gets swept away by the rope. Player 312 makes it across but gets pushed off by player 096, who declares that no one else will pass. And with that crazy moment, the episode ends. But not for long, as episode 4 continues right where we left it. Episode 4. Player 096 kicks player 276 to his death, transforming into a bridge predator. Under the pressure, player 209 slips and falls, followed by player 136. A drone shot reveals 5 bodies below, meaning another unnamed player also fell off screen. Players 192 and 442 die together when player 192 slips and grabs the player in front of him, and the rope sweeps them both off. Player 377 slips while trying to turn around, and when player 349 makes it back to the start, player 203 ruthlessly kicks her off, coldly asking everyone what they're staring at. The fight between Gi-hun and player 096 causes chaos that eliminates players 435, 448, and 260 before Gi-hun finally overpowers 096 by pressing a finger into his eye and throwing player 096 back onto the track, where the rope launches him into the pit. Player 306 falls into a gap and hangs desperately, but player 333 simply steps over him, causing him to fall to his death, showing Myung-gi's cold calculation. The most devastating moment comes when player 222 recognizes her injured ankle makes crossing impossible. She steps to the edge, sheds a tear, and jumps to her death to ensure Gi-hun can save her baby. Another death that can go on the real trauma list. Violence spills beyond the arena when Captain Park massacres the search crew on the boat. Junho shoots Park with a harpoon gun, ending his rampage and leaving Junho and the general as the survivors. On this boat, 4 of the crew got done for, and Captain Park makes it 5 deaths in this incident. And then we continue to the final game of the season, Episode 5. A flashback reveals the brutal precedent when a younger Inho killed 6 remaining contestants in their sleep after winning his own game, following Oil Nam's advice. He offers this to Gi-hun too, but he refuses and remains human. No-Yul shoots the corrupt officer during their elevator fight when he forgot his gun in the elevator, and she retrieves it just as he tries to stab her. Player 125, Min-su, becomes the first pillar victim when the group democratically decides he's the biggest liability. As he hallucinates Semi reaching for him, Myung-gi pushes him off with a pole. An honorable mention is that Thanos made an appearance this season, even though he was already very much dead and is just a hallucination. During a boat chase, player 246 takes down one guard but runs out of ammunition. The second pillar erupts into chaos when player 336 charges at Gi-hun, but Gi-hun cuts his safety rope, and player 333 pushes player 336 off the pillar, shocking everyone by siding with Gi-hun. A massive brawl breaks out where Gi-hun stabs player 203, while player 333 kicks player 353 off the edge after he hangs precariously from the pole. Both players 203 and 353 are eliminated in the violence. Player 333 throws player 100 off the pillar when he suggests eliminating the lunchbox player 039 next. Player 039, his leg broken by the other contestants, refuses to be their next victim. He crawls to the edge and throws himself off, choosing death on his own terms, meaning Gi-hun and Myung-gi are left in a very bad situation. So let's see what happens in the next episode. Episode 6. The final episode starts with the aftermath of the boat fight. 2 more guards are dead, shot by Junho and the sexy general. But the real stuff is happening at the games. In the final confrontation between Gi-hun and Myung-gi on the last pillar, both end up dangling over the edge. When the jacket rips, player 333, Myung-gi, falls to his death, leaving Gi-hun and the baby. But the finale's most shocking moment comes when Gi-hun, after ensuring the baby is safe, faces the VIPs watching from above. He declares, "We are not horses, we are humans," and lets himself fall backward off the pillar. Player 456, Ji-hun, eliminates himself, leaving the infant as the sole winner. From there, a lot more stuff unfolds, but no more deaths were found. Season 3 ended with an absolutely devastating body count of 99 confirmed deaths and 105 if you count the flashback of In-ho. From the opening deception about player 246's death to Gi-hun's final sacrifice, this season was relentless. We witnessed calculated murders, desperate betrayals, drug-fueled hallucinations, and a level of brutality that surpassed everything before. The fact that a baby, pure and innocent, ends up as the sole survivor is the most powerful statement about humanity the series could make. Which death hit you the hardest? Let us know in the comments, and make sure to subscribe for more Squid Game content.